Indonesia is inviting large players in the world's electric vehicle manufacturing to help it achieve its ambitious goal to become the world's hub for the production electric vehicles and their components, especially battery. A series of incentives have been prepared to help realize the goal.
Like other countries in Asia, Indonesia has introduced a number of programs to expand the electric vehicle market and to push for the development of the ecosystem of the electric vehicles in the country. As part of these programs, the Indonesian government recently announced a subsidy packages to make electric motorcycles and electric cars more affordable. The latest round of subsidies will cover 200,000 electric motorcycles and 35,900 electric cars in 2023. Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, the coordinating minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, told a press conference in Jakarta recently. The tax incentives include a cash subsidy of 7 million rupiahs for the purchase of a new electric motorbike. However, the electric motorbikes must be produced domestically and have at least 40% local content. The government has not announced the exact amount for the subsidies for electric cars or buses, but it has been reported that the subsidy for electric cars will be between 25 million rupiahs and 80 million rupiahs depending on their brands. The sales of electric vehicles in Indonesia have increased sharply in the last 2 years, thanks to entry of new names in the market. According to the Association of Indonesian Automotive Manufacturers, or GAIKINDO, the sales of electric vehicles in Indonesia rose by almost 4 times to 15,473 cars in 2022. The sales included fully electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. The public enthusiasm on electric vehicles is also quite high. The number of electric vehicles displayed at the Indonesia International Motor Show in February this year attracted a lot of attention from the visitors. President Joko Widodo has set out a vision of building an end-to-end electric vehicle supply chain and turning Indonesia as an electric vehicle manufacturing hub. Indonesia, which holds the world's largest nickel ore reserves, has the resource and market to become the hub for the electric vehicle production. In order to support the ambition, the Indonesia has continued to ban exports of nickel ores despite the World Trade Organization's ruling against the export ban. The Indonesian government is also inviting foreign investors to help develop the electric vehicle ecosystem as the Southeast Asian country is on track of a green energy transition. It seems that Indonesia is quite aggressive in this aspect. Indonesia is finalizing agreements with China's automaker BYD Group and US car maker Tesla to invest in electric vehicle production facilities in the Southeast Asian country, a senior cabinet minister has said. A series of negotiations have been also carried out with a number of other big names such as Chinese battery manufacturer Contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited and South Korea's Hyundai Motor Group and LG Energy Solution. Although most of the investment plans are still under negotiations, there is a good news from Investment Minister, Chairman of the Investment Coordinating Board, Bahlil Lahadiah, who said that Contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited and LG Energy Solution in the second semester this year. Hopefully, the government and the potential investors will be able to resolve their difference so that more electric vehicle factories will be built in the country within the next 2 years.
In its electric vehicle roadmap, the government has set an ambitious target to become a major producer of both EV battery and electric cars. To achieve this goal, the government has introduced a number of programs to boost electric car sales and to develop ecosystem for EV sales and production. Today, it is an honor to have Bapak Fahmy Radhi, senior economist at Gadjah Mada University Yogyakarta. He will share with us his points of view on the government's electric car project, which has been widely discussed in the public. Good afternoon, Bapak Radhi. Thank you very much for joining us today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. With my pleasure, Irene.
Yes, Pak Fahmy, we would like to know your opinion or your point of view on how you see the prospect of EV industry in Indonesia.
Yeah, fact that uh, electric vehicle, current vehicle, but electric vehicle in Indonesia, I think is too perspective. The reason is that the Indonesia has resource that can develop to the ecosystem from upstream to downstream so that the production cost must be much cheaper than other country. He said Indonesia have huge potential market um, through the migration from conventional vehicle to electric vehicle. And I think this condition is be um, interested for enforcement to invest in vehicle electric in Indonesia. Harin.
Pak Fahmy Radhi, we know that the government is providing a cash subsidy for the purchases of electric vehicles
Yes.
in Indonesia, and it has started taking its effect on the 20th of March. Do you think that this fiscal incentives is enough considering the lack of infrastructure in EV vehicles in the country so far?
Yeah, I think government must be create the market, domestic markets, so of effort to give incentive subsidy for customer. That subsidy is not for customer that affordable to buy electric vehicle, but to to develop vehicle, electric vehicle in Indonesia in order to achieve zero carbon in 2060. The limits of infrastructure, I think, um, not so problem because when community, when vehicle, electric vehicle, the number of vehicle is sufficient, I think PLN will bridge this infrastructure.
So it will be go hand in hand, in your opinion, that the PLN will add more charging stations in the country. Other than these challenges, what are the things that the government should do to address the problem?
Yeah, the problem is right now the number of um, electric vehicles is not sufficient yet. Um, so I think governments should be encouraged and create the market. Uh, and that time, I think PLN will invest and bridge to infrastructure in Indonesia.
Okay, Pak Fahmy, Indonesia in its roadmap set an ambitious goal to be world's major producer for EV cars as well as EV battery. What do you think that our government should do first to achieve this ambitious goal, Pak Fahmy?
Yeah, this is ambitious for Indonesia become a world's producer of battery and vehicle. If ecosystem industry and domestic market have already formed, um, that's when the government should encourage and then give some incentive for customer for investment. Um, so investor will come in Indonesia to invest in battery factory and also vehicle. And I think Indonesia is attracting for foreign investor to invest in battery and vehicle because we have uh, huge resource like nickel and then in the ecosystem from upstream to downstream. Um, I think that these conditions will be attracting for investment. So it is not impossible for Indonesia to become the world's player, the world's producer in battery and electric vehicle. Yeah.
It's not impossible, you mentioned. So Indonesia has been attracting investors to invest in our country with its large nickel ore reserves. But recently, the WTO has a ruling against Indonesia's banning on nickel ore exports. Do you think that this will encourage investment to the country, Pak?
I think not at all, because in fact that President Joko Widodo didn't give up when Indonesia lost in um, WTO and is still banning the export of nickel and other mining products. It means that President saw that loss in the WTO is not so problem, and it is still attracting for investment in battery and vehicle, electric vehicle, and also that we have huge customer. I think it is more profitable for investor to invest in Indonesia.
So we have also favorable demographics as one of the biggest market in the world. So regarding the local production of electric cars, what do you think our government should do to encourage more local manufacturers to enter the EV production?
Yeah, government must require to provision of incentive for electric vehicles, not only for factory in Indonesia, but also for local component of at least 85%. Besides, the government must also require technology transfer, especially for technological capability within 5 years. So after that, we can produce ourselves electric vehicle in Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Bapak Fahmy Radhi, Senior Economist at Gadjah Mada University, for joining us today. Thank you.
You are welcome. It's my pleasure.